We have Meagan Davis today on the Sales Enablement Society Spotlight. Meagan is the leader of the new member position workgroup. Meagan, great to have you on the Sales Enablement Society Spotlight today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Walter. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I appreciate your time. So let's just jump in. Tell me more about you, your role, what you do, and your involvement with the Sales Enablement Society.
Sure. So I work in business development for a software technology company headquartered in New York City. And I employ social selling and sales enablement tactics there. And through my research into social selling, actually, I connected with one of the members of the Sales Enablement Society, Michael Labate. And Michael gave me an intro to the society. I was very interested in the mission of the society and the area of work. So fast forward to today, and I'm leading the positions work group for the Sales Enablement Society. I'm really excited to be a member and also to be leading this initiative.
Great. So tell me more about what is the position work group?
Sure. So the positions work group, our goal with the positions work group is to add clarity and a little bit of definition to 7 positions that will be internal positions to the Sales Enablement Society. And we're trying to do that in a way that is in line with the principles of the society, so very open-ended, but also add enough clarity so that it's easy for members or prospective members to opt in, and also to recognize the members that are maybe already in those positions and be able to elevate those members and the activities that they're doing.
Okay, great. And so to really join the Sales Enablement Society, of course, it's free to join, and this work group as well. So tell me more about, I really like to focus on the why. Why should members really want to get involved with the member positions work group? Maybe you can tell me more, a little bit more detail about the work group and what you all want to achieve through the work group for the members.
Sure. So we have a few different goals in mind for the final draft of the positions, and it is, I'll add, it's an iterative process. So we're coming up with multiple different drafts and soliciting a lot of feedback. So really making an effort to weave in all of the positions and all of the insights from the members who are currently involved with the project. I think there are about 270. So I guess that's one reason to get involved, is that we do want to make these positions reflective of everyone who's interested in the space. And we're trying to make it really inclusive and really easy to get involved by participating in something like a survey or being as actively involved as meeting with our group virtually every week or every 2 weeks. So there's multiple different ways to get involved with the work group.
Which you brought up, and I was unaware of this, the member positions within the actual work group, within the community of the Sales Enablement Society, can transcend into a sales enablement role within an organization based upon these positions. Could you tell me a little bit more about that? That's very interesting.
Sure. So we are definitely, that's our big, hairy, audacious kind of goal for the end that we're aiming to hit at September. So I don't have a solution for you, unfortunately. But yeah, I guess what I can say, that our working thesis right now is it's kind of interesting. So we have these 6 positions that we're working with that are kind of like our frame. And we have the positions divided in half. And right now we're looking at those 2 groups of positions and looking at one set of them and seeing them as more opt-in, and looking at the other half and seeing them as more appointed. And that's a challenge because of the society is non-hierarchical. So who will be the one to appoint those people? You run into lots of challenges, but that's the working theory where we've divided it up a little bit and are thinking about how those two groups of positions interrelate and how they would react or how they would act together, in a work group. And we had a great meeting last night with drafts upcoming next week. So as soon as we get the next iteration, we'll definitely release to everyone in the society via LinkedIn and the platform, and be asking for all types of feedback.
Fantastic. And you said right now there's going to be 6 different positions, you were saying?
Yes. So we started off with actually, technically, there were 7 positions, one of them being onboarded. Right now, we're working with 6 and calling onboarded more of a status,
Okay.
or more of like a step, I guess. So yes, currently there are 6 working positions, 3 of them being more opt-in and 3 of them being more appointed based on the nature of the activities.
Okay. Yeah. And so by the way, if any, and Megan's going to talk a little bit here in a moment about if who's currently not part of the Sales Enablement Society like to join, or who is part of the Sales Enablement Society but not a part of this work group that would be interested in joining this work group, how you can join. But when you do come into this work group, which she'll talk about in a moment, is you got this great graphic. It goes through, I see the different positions. You talked a little bit about the onboarding, but the initiator, right? The navigator, the energizer, the facilitator, leader, and enabler, right? So we go through these different stages, and there's a lot of valuable information here and description based upon these. So, and these are the ones that would actually be broken up, I imagine, into the 2 segments.
Exactly. Yep. We're breaking those right down the middle, actually.
Okay.
But I'm trying to not avoid making them hierarchical of one leading to the another, or one being more important than the other. But
right.
we're seeing the positions as kind of an elevator, like each pulling the other up in a way too. And right now we're really working on drafting out the activities. Maybe that would be that a person in a certain position would be asked to perform or would be competent performing. And I think what's interesting, the position descriptions as they are now are very open-ended, and they're not like anything that you would see in an organization. Like I have yet to see a facilitator or a leader or any of the names that we're working with now in an organization. And I think that's really cool, because the society recognizes that there's value to each activity or each input that isn't necessarily equivalent to like the rung of the ladder that someone is on. I think that's really interesting. And Great.
And I would also say that it's great because you're going through this process within this work group to define what these positions are. And this is like a live test bed environment where you're actually building these out and implementing them, which you can actually then take into the real world. And that's the great thing about the Sales Enablement Society. We do go out and test and work through these different initiatives to build these different programs. So that's fantastic. And so for the member who that gets involved, could you tell me a little bit more about, if I'm a member in the Sales Enablement Society, and what would these different positions do for me, and how could I potentially get a position within the organization and move from one position to the next? I know you're in the process of still defining these, but in general form, the value to the member internally within the society based upon the positions.
Sure. And yeah, that's another area we're currently working on building out. But just based on recent conversations that I'm having, a large value of being part of the society is being part of the society. So the recognition and naming people in each of these positions is definitely part of the value, receiving that recognition. Beyond that, talking about, I guess, what I can speak to in terms of movement between the positions and being appointed to positions. One of the questions of the survey that we sent out to all of the members a couple of weeks ago asked just a yes or no question. Do you think there should be advancement through the positions? And it was interesting. That was the question that was not definitively yes or no. I think it was like 40-60.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that even within the community of members that feels passionately about the positions project, there wasn't certainty as to whether there should be advancement through the positions or not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an area we're still looking through the data on, and coming up with a solution to.
Right. Do you have a set date yet when you plan on really rolling this out to all the members?
Yes. So we're creating a draft by next week that we're meeting to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
And after we have that draft kind of tailored down to a page, the plan is to post that or to solicit feedback from members of the positions work group. So it's really an iterative process. We had a very early draft that has already been modified, I guess, or we're already working on version 2. So in terms of like within the next couple of weeks, I would say, we'll have that first draft and then be soliciting feedback to move into the next draft. And really the goal is to keep the project moving and to get as many opinions
Sure.
Get as many members involved as possible in the description so that they're really, I guess we're going for quality descriptions that are really whole and really complete, as opposed to just getting something on a paper for a specific date. So it's an iterative process, and every time we have a draft and more people involved, we'll definitely be transparent and asking for more input.
Okay, fantastic. So how, if someone's interested getting involved, if they're already a member of the Sales Enablement Society, where do they go to join this work group?
Sure. So the work group, you could go to the Sales Enablement platform, and it's within one of the communities there.
Right.
And you're able to join that and become a member of this community. Additionally, myself and Jean Roy are working. Jean is one of the other leads of the project, and we're both, if you wanted to get involved, I'm saying this like the long way and it's very simple, you're welcome to also reach out to Jean or myself, and we can help connect you with the piece of the project that you're interested in, and just have a conversation and identify how you'd like to help.
And of course, you're a member of the Sales Enablement Society, so it's easy just to go into the directory and look you up and connect with you. Great. Yeah. And so, yeah, and again, everyone, it's the member positions work group. As Meagan mentioned, it's right. Go under communities. You'll see member positions of the Sales Enablement Society, the title. You can go in there and join that work group. I highly recommend it. There is a lot of emphasis from the Sales Enablement Society placed in the work groups today. The work groups are a fantastic way, really building out this component of the Sales Enablement Society where a group of members and individuals can work collectively together towards a common goal, work very agile, and everyone really has a voice in these work groups. And it's a very iterative, creative process where you're really breaking down these silos. Individuals that are sales enablement professionals, individuals that are C-level executives, individuals that are VPs of sales and VPs of marketing get involved and work closely together. So it's a great way to collaborate these work groups and really come up with new initiatives and new concepts and ideas that we can really take into the business world today and effectively use. So I think this is a great initiative, and I'm happy to hear that you're taking this on. And so the end state, I mean, when would you like to, really think of hopefully having this live when it actually comes out to the members overall? Do you all have a set date for that, or is that down the road and you all haven't set a date yet? I know you have to go through your different processes, of course.
Yeah, so I do know that the Sales Enablement Society conference in Denver is happening in September.
Yes.
So the positions will absolutely be done before that date. And I guess that's a long time between now and then, but that's kind of our hard deadline of having everything complete, polished, and having some sort of experience at that event, demonstrating our process and our definitions. Mm-hmm. So sometime between now and September.
Fantastic. Okay. Anything else that you would like to mention about the work group?
I think we covered kind of up to what we're working on currently. I guess an emphasis was placed on this, but if you'd like to get involved, definitely reach out. It's iterative, and we are trying to weave in as many perspectives as possible. So we're at an exciting point, and I'm loving the collaborative meetings and conversations I'm having with everyone through this process. And yeah, that's about it. I'm excited to see the next draft and to share that with everyone.
Great. So again, everyone, if again, you can go into the community site and the member positions workgroup where you can actively join. Also, if you are not a member of the Sales Enablement Society, if you go to sesociety.org, you can join. Again, it's free. I highly recommend it. Right now, we have close to 3,000 members and growing rapidly. It's a great way to come in and engage, and there's a lot of great information in this. It's really a community-based site where we have an open forum where a lot of individuals are asking questions and providing a lot of valuable insight and information regarding to the sales enablement industry. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you don't have to be a sales enablement practitioner. There's people in the marketing realm, profession, sales profession, of course, sales enablement, but C-level executive VPs. So please feel free to join. It's free, and get involved. Well, Meagan, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you, Walter. It's been a pleasure.